We want you to stand strong and tall and to be very steadfast in the face of the challenges, in the face of the changes that are occurring, and in the face of the chaos of your lives. Because complexity is something that can be either interesting or chaotic, depending on your current emotional state.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to House of Harmony. My name is Madison, if this is your first time here. So today I want to talk about my experience that I had this week in context to prioritizing and kind of entering the matrix a little bit as far as schedule concerns go, and the type of experience that I did have in not balancing my energy and not balancing my time and attention towards the multiple aspects of myself. So let's get started. So Monday and Tuesday, I had really full days at the studio. If I wasn't teaching through the individual times, I was actually doing a lot of administrative work and working on this programming for the new business model and all this fantastic stuff. But there's a lot of mundane things that fall into doing some of this work, like email, sales, some of the marketing things, client happiness, and all that jazz. So I worked basically all day Sunday with a bunch of singing, church gigs, and Monday came around and it was a full 7 hours of administrative work, and Tuesday came around and it was admin plus teaching, and Wednesday came around and we had team development meetings, and we were discussing / reviewing / developing an aspect of the teaching that is not my favorite. I don't necessarily need to go into details, but it was not my favorite, and these team development meetings are definitely performance-based, where you're put on the spot and you can't really just like zone out and daydream during these things. You have to be an active participant and contribute insightful perspectives, and also be put into simulation lessons and situations that arise in whatever form when you become a teacher. So I was chosen to be the teacher in this particular simulation, and I was already not feeling into this particular scenario that we had to do, and of course I was chosen as the person who had to put in the most amount of work and effort into this simulation. And when I was chosen, my energy and my willingness to be an open and loving person just plummeted, just went, and I remember just sitting there and just like in my mind, it was just on repeat. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. And, you know, obviously I really didn't have a choice, so I put in my best effort. I did it, and I mustered up the energy and fake enthusiasm to do this simulation of a lesson. And you know, after that comes critique and whatever, and which the experience itself was fine, but what I realized, you know, stepping out, I was like, wow, that experience and the energy I was feeling and the state I was in was not my normal self, was not my open and going with the flow self, and being really in the present moment. And so when I got home on Wednesday, I sat down with myself and I asked, okay, why was that such a negative, not good feeling experience for me? And I came to the realization that it wasn't the experience itself, but it was everything that led up to that particular time and space, and everything that I did in the days before that particular experience that put me in a vibrational state of resistance, or not feeling like my whole multidimensional expansive self. I was feeling tired. I was not stressed, but just a little low. And I realized it was because through the days of Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, I wasn't balancing my time and my energy between all of the different aspects of myself and the other things that are a priority to me that make me feel like my most authentic self. And that includes meditation, that includes being outside and connecting in nature, that includes, I don't know, painting this dresser. It also includes so many other things. For instance, my consulting, my spirituality community, all of these different things. And I realized that all of it had been put on the back burner, or that I wasn't giving any conscious attention or energy to those things that really make me feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose here, and fulfilling all of the different aspects that make me me. So Wednesday came around and I'm home, and so I made a pact with myself saying, okay, I realized that it wasn't this particular experience that was horrible, it was the way I was managing and balancing everything else in my life and what I was putting my consciousness towards, and how that, balanced with everything else. And my work stuff and my studio stuff had been taking up so much of my consciousness and my time and energy here on this plane. So Thursday came around and I said, okay, I'm going to try compartmentalizing time and space. So when I'm in particular containers, those containers are dedicated to being fully present in the tasks that I am doing, and that there is no bleed over of thoughts or energy or consideration or tasks into other things. So that meant from 8:30 to 11 a.m. on Thursday, I was going to be at the studio. I was going to do all the calls, all the emails, all of the research that I needed to do, or that I really wanted to do, that pertained to the studio and the business and all the programming and new business model stuff. And then I decided 11 to 2, that was going to be my time to go to the conservatory and to practice singing and to really focus on my repertoire, because I'm going to France for competition in a month. And then after that, I would go back to the studio, and that time would be to talk to Alyssa about, other things I needed to do, and teach the rest of my stuff, and then be able to come home. I was going home after 7:30, and that was going to be my time for spirituality things, meditation, and I do this Q&A thing on Thursday nights that is a channeling event. So I'll do a video about that later. It's a whole other subject. So I stuck to this, and came 11 a.m. and 11:30 and 12, and I was just getting emails and phone calls and text messages from my boss, and I realized I was getting a challenge from my higher self, being like, all right, let's see if you actually stick to this, and you made this plan. Here is an experience for you to see if you're going to really stick to your guns and really prioritize yourself. And yeah, so I'm practicing, I'm getting a phone call from my boss, I'm getting emails and text messages, and I chose not to respond. But eventually I sent a text message to my boss, and I said, hey, I'm at the conservatory practicing right now. I will be available after like 1:30 because that'll be the time I'll be commuting back to the studio. And she responded and she said, oh, okay, I'm so sorry. Thank you for letting me know, and I will see you at 2. So I was very proud of myself, even though it's a very small thing, but really declaring to my external reality, like, hey, I am choosing to make myself a priority at this time, and I am sticking to this balance. Not to say that I'm neglecting anything, but I am doing what is best for me. So then when the time comes for me to step back into that energy that is dedicated to the studio, I'm fully present there, and I'm not feeling like I am ignoring or neglecting the other aspects of myself and my interests. So I finally finished the day on Thursday, and I just realized how much more of a fulfilled person I felt, and how much happier and how much more easeful the rest of my day was, because I really chose to make an effort or stick to my guns about staying within the containers that I created for myself. And you know, there were 3 different containers. They were the studio, it was my singing, my practicing, and third was my spirituality. And within the evening after 7:30, I said I'm not answering or looking at emails until the next day. So I just really wanted to share that particular experience that I had this week, because I really empathized, and I still do empathize with the rest of the millions of people who go to a 8 to 5 work day job, and they get home and they still have emails, or they still have homework or projects that they need to finish that bleed over into their time and space that is usually dedicated to socializing or going to the gym, or engaging in whatever their particular hobbies and interests are outside of the thing that they do to make money. And so I'm really grateful and appreciative that I had that experience, because it helps me understand people more, because I've never been subscribed to that particular model of life and scheduling where it was 7-8 hours a day. A huge chunk of your time is devoted to something that just gives you monetary security, so you can have money to go do other things that you're interested in. But what happens when you do have all this money, but your energy and your time is sucked away from you, and so you subconsciously get to the point where it feels like, what is the point if I don't feel like I am balancing or being able to engage in all these other aspects of who I am and what makes me feel most like me? There needs to be some sort of reconfiguration or a revisit to how our society works and operates on a collective level, but it ultimately comes down to the individual and understanding what is most important to them, what really makes them feel like they're expressing their most authentic self on a daily basis, and what can one do to make those adjustments to hone in on a program or a schedule or a flow that is unique and individual and most in alignment with who they are and where they want to go in life. So I encourage you to just take 10-20 minutes and think about this in your own life, and where can you make adjustments to give yourself containers of time and space that can help you really focus and funnel your 100% of your energy and consciousness into the particular task or hobby or interest at hand, and see if you can find a more balanced approach. So yeah, that's about it for today. I really hope you enjoyed hearing my experience and this video. Please press the subscribe button if you enjoyed this, and take a look at all the rest of my videos I've posted. And until next time, I love you.